the Union Jack is lowered and the new flag of Jamaica raised.
Everybody is in fear, everybody is in a panic because we have been victimized. We have not known what is going to happen to us. We are suffering.
Yeah, man, the wickedest fight Rasta get in Jamaica was through the Caravan thing.
What a war to bust a cabinet singing what a war. The water war to Boston cabinet singing what a war. Boston Manti come blind now. The second one come dead now. And Mr. Shearer can't shear out himself.
Yes, that's calling up on the chanters. Drummers. I have been the drummers. Step forward, please. Make us start. The order, no. Drummers, chanters. We can start the meditation. I yield the power of His Majesty. We can yield and give reverence to Haile Selassie.
I was beaten, sent to prison without a cause.
Well, with Carol God now, it is a very long story.
I confident the power of Haile Selassie Rastafari to deliver out of the hand of this wicked system in Jamaica.
He apologizing for what had taken place unto Rasta 1963. But apology can be empty and just a word used. Where is the recompense?
Yeah.
While Jamaica is arguably one of the most beautiful places in the world, it is also beset by a per capita murder rate rivaled only by Colombia and South Africa. Most observers attribute the high rates of murder and violent crime to the various failures of the Jamaican economy and the development of political partisanship during the mid-20th century. As the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party built their constituencies, political gangs developed to intimidate voters and cement political garrisons. Leaders of these gangs maintained close links with politicians, creating a situation that would later become known as political tribalism.
I saw men from Tivoli go to the police vehicle, park before the Tivoli court, and throw a bomb inside. The vehicle exploded and caught fire.
To fully understand the story of political violence in Jamaica, we also have to understand how Jamaica's most iconic community, Rastafarians, were demonized and persecuted by the Jamaican government in the early years.
Capture the high and the nobles, don't you know we have a net? Capture the high and the nobles, don't you know we have a net? Capture the high and the nobles in the round.
And for many years, Rastafarians were concentrated in a community called Bakawal. This community was adjacent to Coronation Market, the largest market in Kingston. In 1966, Bakawal was razed by then Minister of Development and Welfare Edward Siaga, who sent bulldozers to destroy the ramshackle dwellings that had been erected, ultimately replacing all the residents with supporters of the ruling Labour Party. Rastafarians were dispersed to other areas of the country where many had already taken up residence in rural outposts and hilltops. Some in Jamaica consider this dispersal to be the single most formative moment in the movement. but it was preceded by a string of persecutions. Principal among these persecutions was the Coral Gardens incident, also known as Bad Friday.
My birthful name is Isaac Wright, born 1935.
Here come the Rasta man.
My name Enid.
Enid what?
Empress Enid Steele.
Yeah, you come out with it. You see what that are?
Come over hills and valleys and plains.
My birthplace is Sun Rivers. My post office is Cambridge. I went to Bickerset at school, which I get great knowledge.
But you will loyalty, we loyalty, we loyalty to Jah.
My name is Fillmore Albaranga. I come to the Rasta movement in 1936 when I saw a photograph with His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie.
Well, you know, in the youthful days coming up, I was moving with a Rasta man, and I hear him speaking of Haile Selassie as a returned Messiah. And it's by 2 millilek then caused the Ark and the Covenant to trod from Jerusalem unto Ethiopia, guided by the Archangel Michael. So we acknowledge those divine consciousness of His Majesty, and we look upon the coronation of His Majesty, 1930, where He coronated as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. And we know that that is the title that the Christ must return according to Revelation 19.
When the movement was founded in the 1930s, going back to Africa was one of the central tenets of the movement. And the reason why they didn't agitate on it at the time, in that first decade, was simply because they had a bigger task, namely to convince people that Haile Selassie was God. Because if you convinced people that Haile Selassie was in fact the Son of God or God Himself, then the whole question of repatriation, of returning to Zion, the seat of His Majesty's power, would follow, I think, logically.
The system was very cruel to anyone who did not conform or did not seem to conform to their thinking. I mean, it happens at school, it happens in the workplace. So you began to see the different types of abuses and I would say extreme fear for the unknown. How dare you question the status quo? And that basically was what Rastafarians were doing.
One time, you know, according to how the government look at it, Rastaman was like, you know, workless and, you know, people never look at them as upful and conscious people. So, you know, police would have just harass you for nothing at all, you know.
In truth and in fact, Rasta was like a species in Jamaica where we have to stay on the edge of society. Like you have to stay both in the hills. You can't venture too much in the city and town. They don't want to see you, you know, because them figure say you bring certain light to the people.
My name is Selborne A. Reed. I'm an ex-Jamaican policeman, retired detective inspector. I recall even
in my own growing up, Rastafarians were not accepted per se as ordinary citizens. Eventually I joined the force, and I recall that in our shooting range, the targets were oftentimes the image of a Rasta man with locks placed there. And in our mind, that was the look of a criminal. And so we would use those images as targets.
If for any reason, if they catch you with little weed and you go to jail and you're a Rasta, the first thing they do is trim you.
My observation of how the security forces treated Rasta, that for me was the biggest deterrent, you know. It wasn't, I could deal with my father like forsaking me because I know he would come around eventually. I could deal with people in the community who think that, well, all right, from you step up to the fate of Rasta, this is the end of it. But you see, the way how the security forces treated Rasta, it was like not a very attractive thing.
The first tribulation on the Rastafari movement in Jamaica was 1950, when a man by the name of Wappy King go on the Palisades Road, which is the Norman Manley Airport Road. And there was a Chinese girl and a Chinese boy on the beach. And him kill the boy and rape off the girl. And throw the girl in the sea, thinking she go drown. And then him ride off and leave her. When she get rescued, she told the police that it's Rasta. Because the guy have on him beard. But him didn't have on no hair upon him head. He was a rascal. Under this guy of Rasta. So when him do him wickedness, him go shave off. So there was a man who saw him coming from that way on a bicycle and know that the guy is that kind of guy and see him trim off him beard. So he report to the police that guy. But the girl said, while him and her, he must be in what him doing, raping, she crop up her face, which have a whole heap of mark in her fingernail, you know, mark up her face. So everywhere them see a Rasta, them take knife and cut off him head off her face. I search for them mark then now to find out. So every man who have a beard was being persecuted for that.
And one morning, when I push a car, I have a little contract, go to Alpha. Come from Alpha, I see a crowd in Coronation Market. When I look and ask why, them say a Rasta man who sweep in the market. Police beat him up and then carry him gone to hospital, public hospital. So when the policeman then come down there, then catch all the Rasta man then by their nuts, so you know, and hold them, you know, and put on something and bite the stick on them, you know, the button, and catch them drum, and step in at the drum and throw all the drum them in a fire. And we start run, we have to run from them because they have tear gas.
First, you had Prince Edward Emmanuel's convention. That was a long 21 days convention that they had over in Bakawal, and with the expectation, according to some people, that they were to return to Africa at the end of that. The following year came Reverend Claudius Henry's Decision Day on October 5th, 1958, which was Decision Day, when the world would see the miraculous repatriation to Africa. Well, that created a crisis only for Henry's group, though I'm told that from the reports I received when I was doing that research, that many other people not belonging to his organization, which was called the African Reformed Church, had attached themselves to his movement in the expectation that they would be repatriated. People come from all over the country, apparently. Then came 1960 events, Henry again, when he was found with arms and a letter to Fidel Castro inviting the Castro government to come to Jamaica to take over this country as they depart for Africa. And that was the crisis that was precipitated for the movement, generally speaking.
The Reynold Henry case was disposed of within 6 months. In fact, from the time that Reynold Henry was arrested, was tried in the Supreme Court by a jury in a court that was presided over by the then Chief Justice. The case went to the Court of Appeal and to the Federal Court of Appeal that was part of the old federal structure. All of that took place within the space of 1 year, and the executions actually took place just a year after the event. So that is an indication of the speed and the anxiety that accompanied that case, and it is important to understand that because it is an index of the sense of fear and terror that persons who did not understand the Rastafarian movement, or persons who felt badly about it, felt adverse to the Rastafarian movement, how they reacted to the Coral Gardens trial.
Now, today is the first day of independence for the latest new nation of the Commonwealth, Jamaica. A new status, which was marked at midnight last night by the lowering of the Union Jack in Kingston, the capital, came soon after the dissolution of the West Indian Federation, from which, of course, Jamaica had already broken away.
Now, Linston Market. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Carry up, go Linston Market, not a quarter what sell. Carry up, go Linston Market, not a quarter what sell. Lord, what a night, not a bite. What a Saturday night. Lord, what a night, not a bite. What a Saturday night.
Holy Thursday, 1963, a news come over the ear. Say, uprising in Montego Bay, Coral Garden. 6 Rasta, burn down a gas station, kill a man, 3 of the Rasta get shot dead, 2 arrested, 1 at large, 300 in jail.
I wrote about the incident of the Rastafarian uprising as of April 11, 1963. I was one of the police officers in that incident. We received reports from whilst at the station, from the area that a gas station was on fire. So I went in the armory and the inspector had ordered that I take out 6 rifles with ammunition. I took the rifles out and they were distributed among the men, including myself. And we loaded a long base Land Rover and went towards Coral Gardens.
We are in Salt Spring, which is very important in the Coral Garden incident. Why is it important? Because the brother who had the problem with the system, with Babylon, he used to
have his farm just about a mile or two from here, above Salt Spring in Flower Hill next door. Which Salt Spring and Flower Hill are like neighbors, you know. Most of the people in Salt Spring, Flower Hill, work on the property at Rosal.
My man will never do, never.
No, Rudolph went up on the property. And him a burn coal. Him never work with the planters them.
Yeah.
So the coal when I burn now, them claim so the people them where they develop never like to smell the coal burning. So then tell him to go over yonder.
Yeah.
So then go over yonder and you have a ranger who bump. You know some Jamaican ranger them bumpy.
Yeah.
And then go up there and see man say, Rasta boy, you don't know, so you know fi burn coal for the people them property. So the thing now, they have a place down in the sun here, white gut. Everybody afraid, I know people afraid down there so. You have a road from now a half moon, go right to where me live there now in the Mount Zion, because Mount Zion me live. And that's so the police them go down and catch him. Around 3 police nights up me, so they must say want him and want the Rasta to tap and come in. So I'm not tap because I'm not go on a mission. Yeah. So that's so now the police and thing and the news go to Rasta and police war. So you know hell was loose.
Rudolph Franklin at that time was a very popular youngster among the Rastafarians group in Jamaica, Montego Bay. And not only was he popular among Rastafarians, but he was popular among the underprivileged youngsters in the entire area.
So now we have Rudolph as we little, as we father. Because you know, most of we call him we father. To how him used to treat us as young youth.
My name is Sheena Franklin. I am the daughter of Rudolph Franklin. He always come, you know. Me see people running up and down. You don't know who is here. Rudolph. They wonder to myself because I was so small. They wonder to myself, say, who is this man that everybody have to, you know, run up and down. Rudolph is in the place and things like that.
And one evening we coming from school. We see a guy lie down into a jeep like this, lie on him face with him foot stretched out the back. So everybody tried to wondering, who is the person? So we didn't know who is it until about 8 o'clock in the evening. There's a man come from out where we were living and tell us that Rudolph get shot today. No, that was 1961. Yeah, 1961, October.
I know Rudolph. I don't know his whereabouts, where he live. I don't know nothing about him. I only know that I buy coal, I buy corn, I buy peas, bean, and I buy okra from him. That's what I know. I don't know nothing. I don't know if he was a bad man. I don't know if he was a good man. Until I hear that them shoot him.
Rudolph's father died and leave a lot out of Carl Garden. When he go on the lot now, he start chop it down and burn coal, and they then make them start farm. Till they get the land clear now, then start farm. After they start farm now, Rosal manager, they send workers over there to check what the man they do. But then say a Rosal, then they pan. So after them go there and check you out and carry back the news to the manager. Say then they farm this and then they farm that. Then say alright. Then they set up for good when the project start reap. When they start reap the project now, then carry a battalion of police go there. And when they go the battalion of police go there, then chop down, they reap what they reap, pumpkin, melon, every little thing what they see they reap it. And after they reap it now, then the order to chop it down and then chop it down. Alright, for the first time, they would all say to them, say, man, I'm not a quarter here now. I have my title and thing, I make me a lawfully here. Then say, man, you come down too much from Rosal. So you have to advance up further up.
I grew up in a farming community. I love to see plants grow. And one of the things that I had to do whilst a young cop in Montego Bay was to go out with the bulldozers to bulldoze farm crops on the Carjar's property. These people would have gone on the property, they have no permission, and cultivate their crops. And so they were trespassers. And so the headmen would call the police. Police would arrange to go there and then bulldoze the crops. And there were many times that I stood almost at the point of tears when I saw those beautiful crops, cabbage, corn, cassava, yam, being plowed up.
Then go back there the second time and then do the same thing. And after they reap, what did they know? But I said, no, what is this? See me try clear. Then say, man, you come down too much from Rosal. So hard branch up, second time. Then chop down and reap for them to reap and go away. Third time, I'm going to come back now. Rodolph got one machine, the plant can. So when the police then go there, and Rodolph got the machine. He said, drop, Rasta man, drop the cutlass. Drop that cutlass. Rodolph said, but imagine. When you come up here with the gun, being it and all different kind of thing, and I Rasta man tell you, say, if you drop it. And I got I cut this the farm, my little perform. How you come tell me if you drop my cutlass? A 3 bullet then give him.
He was working in one of the Carjar's place, a part of the Carjar's property in Carl Gardens area. And of course, he was planting marijuana. Well, the police went there not to raid him for marijuana, but to execute a warrant for him to leave the Carjar's property. And it so happens that the day when the police went there to serve him this summon, there seemed to be, he was uncooperative, and there seemed to be some altercation between himself and the policeman who had gone there to serve him the summon. And the police shot him. He was not dead, he was injured, and he was taken to the hospital and stayed maybe about 3 months in the hospital before he was released. After he was released, he was taken before the court, tried, convicted, and sentenced to time served and 3 months in prison. He was a very hurting man, and when he came out of prison, he vowed that he was going to take revenge on those who had caused him to go to prison.
I see him in the hospital, and him get 9 months of prison. And after I come out back, he was with me a little time still, because him crumble for he come selling little something, you know. So till me yes, then kill Rodolph. Rodolph killed man at Carroll Garden. Me don't know who on him. Me don't know which part name Carroll Garden. Right.
Instead of make the man get his medication to keep him, they send him man to prison at 68. When he released from prison, check back his doctor because infection, him feel him belly start to swell. Him declare a policy that I think him find 5 more men with himself and declare a revolution. I blame him not because I done nothing wrong. I was a headman for the property where he didn't do nothing.
Just before the Carroll Garden incident, the Sunday evening, I was living in Flankers, and he came and looked for us and didn't told us what he was going to do. And the Thursday, I had a cousin live next door, but he wasn't living up here, he was living down the bottom there. And he run and come to me and say, "Yeah, you know, say your father dead?" He say, "Oh, my father fi dead." He say, "Yeah, man. My father in the Carroll Garden incident. Your father in the Carroll Garden incident, and me understand, so then kill him."
So we formed 2 parties of men, about 15 men each, in a Y formation, and we decided to go in search of these men. By then, a lot of civilians who have heard about the incident had joined the police party, and we were going in search of the men who had done these heinous crimes. We saw about 5 or 6 Rastafarian men coming towards us. And they paused for a little while after they saw the police vehicle. Then we got out of the vehicle, and one of the men in my party took up his rifle, aimed at the men. He pulled the trigger went off, but the gun did not go off because, of course, there was no ammunition in the gun. So when the Rasta men observed that the gun did not go off, they more or less thought that the guns were either defective or they were not loaded. So they spurred on, they began to shoot arrows, and then they attacked the police. The police was defenseless, and the citizens who thought that they had to do something because in their opinion the police was not in charge of the situation. So they formed themselves in vigilante groups. And the fact that they heard that Rasta men were involved, they decided to search out for every Rasta man. In fact, whether you were black, white, yellow, or blue, professor, or just anybody, even if you wear a beard as a little status symbol, you'd be regarded as a Rasta man, you would be beaten and taken to the police station and locked up.
Babylon, your throne gone down, gone down. Babylon, your throne gone down. I hear the voice of the Rasta man say, Babylon, your throne gone down, gone down. Babylon, your throne gone down.
I'm Robin Small, otherwise known as Jerry Small or Bongo Jerry. My old man, Ronald Small, he tried the murder case resulting from the Carl Gardens confrontation in 1963. The Bustamante administration in the earlier 50s, they had moved against Pinnacle and Leonard Howell. The PNP in their time moved against Henry and others. And now after independence, now the JLP again now move against the Rastafari community island-wide on the pretext of the Carl Gardens incident.
Babylon then come out, but you see majority of the people and the people who are the one have enough of people in Babylon who really come. Because it's a stigma with the said government here. This was the said JLP government was in power during them time with I said them spread a stigma about Rasta, like Rasta is a black heart man, them all catch people and kill them and all them things. So that is why them spread these stigma. So you see when the thing start a mobile with them say, it just spread like wildfire through a lot of Rasta in this region, you know. That was a region.
So in the old days of time, no, man, this place is pure food. Pure food, hungry the lick man, crossing good kind of car. In those days, you no one no give no work for do. First, the Rastafari, Eli Selassie, no one no respond to you, you can't get nothing to eat, no drink. You have to get in yourself, because if you know in yourself, you live in jail. You have to walk on the living shark line. And take food from you, I want exciting, take our food off my property, try to go and touch on feed the other one by night.
Labour Party was in power, and they was very hostile to Rastaman.
It really was the Bustamante government's first clash, really, with the Rastafari.
I heard that under Bustamante government, them time the Rasta just come in, and Rasta was treated brutality underneath that government, because from is a Rasta him said you must go to prison or you die, because then catch all Rasta from have little ear and thing, him say must shoot first and inquire after.
And Mr. Bustamante he say carrying all Rasta man dead or alive. He say who can hold a 14, we hold on the shimmy tree.
When him say the jail can't hold them, throw them on Bogill. Yeah. Bogle is the cemetery in Mobile. That means to kill them. So we never like them sound there.
Star newspaper came out and said, bringing all Rastas dead or alive. And that was a very frightening experience for me in 1963. And when I read the news article carefully, I realized that one of my school friends was the one that got shot. That night I went down to visit my girlfriend, and after I left I was walking along Dome Street and a whole lorry full of soldiers just swarmed down on me and started asking questions. I got so frightened I said, please take me to the nearest police station. And it was at the police station now that the whole revelation of what the incident took place, because I met at the police station my schoolmate from primary school that used to live right here, and he was a policeman. And he's the one that began to tell me the whole incident. He said on the night of the incident, he was on patrol, and when he saw the young Rastas somewhere down in the bushes there, he got frightened, and he went against instructions and took out a cartridge and put it in the gun and into the gun against the instructions of the inspector, and fired and shot my schoolmate.
I am a brethren, so we're gonna have a little smoke. We go for that, we go catch a fresh now, we go collect a little money. All we hear, police, come down. Rasta, who no kill good police. And from that, they take us, beat us up, put us into a jeep. We are in there for 31 days before I was sent to our general penitentiary, which was even a wrong prisoner sent me. Because for first offender, I used to go to the farm instead of the general. I was tried half naked because they beat my shirt off. So that's the way we try. Mr. Pilot say unto me, Mr. Brissett, I can do better. I have to send to prison. I say, Mr. Pilot, you say, I see you. Did you say I do something? So you see, when my day come, I'm gonna dribble your cup. And I mean it even now and forever.
What is your name?
Oh, Noel Bennett.
And you're born?
Born in Jamaica, in Cardwell, April 43.
My name is Winston Ferguson. I was born in Barnet Lane, in 10 Barnet Lane, in 1942, 5th of October.
My name is Alan Bennett.
And when were you born?
1935.
My name is Cardinal to the Flesh, Frank Garden.
My name is Justin Reed. I was born in Salt Spring, 1923.
My name is Enos Aldin. I born 1934.
I was born in Westmoreland, 1920. My name, Ivan Sama.
My name is Caswell Shakespeare. I was born January 20, 1937.
Prince Albert Williams.
And when were you born?
1946, 47.
Thomas Lyon, my name was.
Thomas Lyon.
Yes.
Alright. And what, you don't know which year you're born?
No, man. They are like it.
I was born 1932, the 15th day of March, at Montego Bay, Strand Street, 10 Strand Street.
Well, in my experience of Coral Garden, personally, I was in the hills, in our St. James in here, burning coal for 6 weeks, cutting down coal wood to burn fire coal, that we can get it to cook into the stove. And when I come out of the hills now, draw the coal the Friday, the Good Friday, and come out and distribute a bag of the coal to a vendor and go around to my brethren to ask him what's going along and tell me, say, well, police is in the area. So I leave now from the brethren and come up to my gates, still in Granville. These things that I'm telling you happen. And when I come up my gate now, I did have a sister that I and I rest together as my empress. And then I trod now to a higher hills called Charman, where I farm, do my little farming and so on. And was in Charman Mountain for around 4 days until I leave there and trod to St. Elizabeth and the daughter. Called there to the part of St. Elizabeth where I trod, called Cedar Spring, is around 28 miles from Montego Bay. And we trod all night. And when we reached there, they clean out. So when we were there with our brethren now, called Bongo Levi, and tell him what happened, the people them now, when I was going up the hill, tried to stop I from enter the area of the brethren house then. So we mustn't go up there. So I asked him why, I asked them why. Them said because Rasta killed police in Montego Bay.
Call management come down pan and I. And then come take an eye now. Murder an eye. Do many things with an eye. And send it back in prison.
And they grabbed me. And they put a rope right round me, you know, make sure that they rope me go down foot, head. And they tell me like banana.
Come up to me yard and when I handcuff we and handcuff we. One of the policemen say, man, you could have had a great mind and burn down the building. Me say, man, how are you they say to me? Me say, man, you'd have built up fast and how you build it down, build up it. That one of them got one long gun, see that way? You can't see it. Look on it, you know, man. You have one long gun in this way, the one gun, ram! Pan it to the two head, move! One of the sisters bend it and scream out. He says, you scream out? Not me, I say, no, wait till I go down, sir. I don't have jail.
While I was in Wakefield, touchdown Trelawney, on the 12th of April, 1963, where Bustamante and Harley regime come down to say, kill Rastafari. And them take I from Wakefield, in fact them cruel to I from Wakefield to Montego Bay. When I go to Montego Bay, I have to kneel on my knee at 14 and put me on my head and shut up my eye. It's on go high self, no lick high self. To every man have a privilege, if you dig out your eye, there's nothing unto the government.
In night time, you know, they usually beat Rastas and shoot them and all them things and lock them up, and some get imprisonment and some get jail and pay some cash and find them, and some go to prison.
The government said we carrying all Rasta dead or alive. Either them head, cut out their head or carry them in, or kill them and carry them in, no charge. Let them take we 3 year imprisonment.
They carried me to the Montego Bay jail right in the center of the town. They beat us, then do everything to us. When we ask for water, they push us out in the broiling sun. And they wait until when the sun hot. When you look at the concrete, man, you see the heat coming out of it. And they take up the hose, they have the water hose personally. And they touch it on the hydrant. And I spray us in the water, in the middle of the sun. And the night was come down and them trying to them search me, because they don't want me. Then I call out. And the bad dog them, all kind of dog them come up and ready to heat up my structure. But seeing as I was a humble youth at them time there, they couldn't heat I up. Because I don't war them. They just stand up and you what them have to say. Then kept me go to jail. Beat me very properly, beaten from the generation. And then kept me go to jail. And then lock I down. And then like I don't know, I believe they give I bail. And sentence me for 30 days in prison. The first sentence that.
I don't see the half of Carol Garden incident because I was at North Gully and I couldn't go round and round to see the half. I couldn't walk out because it was danger. Which I tell you from the beginning. That I was pregnant, okay? Well, the Wednesday when I got up, I hear some people like over the other yard, they talk, Rasta kill man, Rasta kill man, Rasta kill man.
Them start to fling buckle, fling stone at our head and I slip them then. And some they jam I with stick. But the one that I was watching keenly is the big, strong, black guy that have a big rope. Call it around a 3 inches rope. Feel like you know cast a cow. So every time in the really rope now for cast I know. I burn lightning and thunder and earthquake and I seen fear. So I start burn the said words them, lightning and thunder, and struck him out and go up on the hill quicker than him.
That stone will feel me there. Yeah, and they kick off my door. Yeah. And they turn up my face, turn down my face and turn me back. And they got me back a beat with the riot button and gun butt. So all my ribs them broke. 2 of them broke. They give me some lick, all in my head. Man, me some fool man, piss up myself. But me I tell you bingy.
And when I look, I see man no farm leaf with stick, stone, machete to heavy weapon them have. The arm and barrack broke up boy them that the soldier them. A blue suit them have on with helmet. Gun, one of them take the gun and lick I right at the said. Right here so and lick I drop clear like down. And the time I drop about 7 of them at pure kick. Raise I up back. I bleed from this side right onto the hurt.
You should the second morning, then take you out one by one. And button the buck up and button the buck up and button. When they're done with, when they're done 3 morning straight, then give you that they feeding there. Beaten. And every one of them what beat you. Have to chop up hand. For hours when they lick and piece of flesh, but for them they lick and lick, button and button buck up on one another. And flick back to them pull muscle and all that. They have to chop up their hand.
But while we was there now in the night, police come in the morning, early in the before day around 2 o'clock. They charge the brethren for common assault. And they charge I know for the brethren gas lamp that they took away from the brethren. And the brethren have a big cook fork that him for always frying dumpling with and sell it when he was in Kingston. And them take a big tape from him and charge me for those things, unlawful position. Well, we spent 7 days in Black River Police Station, and on the 8th day now, they transfer us to Balaclava Police Station and carry us to Balaclava Courthouse.
I was working at Iron Shore, and I hear that they're coming on with Rasta. And I sit down there, and afterward I see some police and soldier and pavilion, they come through the cane piece was right there. And the whole of them come through and then take me first. After they take the other brethren. And go to our next spot over that side and take our next one. You go Falmouth, but that jail couldn't hold me. And then carry go to Falmouth. And I stay at Falmouth Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, court. We got court.
What did they charge you with?
Breach of the public law.
The Thursday morning, around 4 o'clock, I hear a rolling, coming very fast. And when it come up, I hear it stop, how it gate like here, so. And hear boop, 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 boop. I board house. I mean, like, we have a little keyhole, and when I prep out, so. I see soldiers like sand rain. I go back, I say, Marcin, police and soldiers out there, you know. When we have a little brother live before we. I realize, then lick down the door, and then go in and then start murder him and then drag him out.
Murder, Mr. Murder. The guy murder me, man. All the woman with piece of chicken and all them kind of way that. And then they show down for me, I said, them beat me to kill me. Stone, iron, everything they find. Yes.
What I do now is save Marcel now. We take off the mattress off of the bed, and we put it in the corner, and then go in the mattress, and we tie the mattress down here so, and we tie it up here so. And I hold the head, the breeze can go in now. And so we get to save him from brutality with the big belly. Taking the Friday night, have the baby the Saturday night. Death road. But I say me not go in a hospital because if it is judgment, me not go. I may stay there till the Almighty Jah help me and then take out the baby for me. See, me bleed till me white. White, like piece of white cloth. Then I have no blood in me. And at 7 days the baby live. 3 spoonful of tea, no breast until them die.
The Friday, it was more wickedly. The hard man, the hard Rasta man through that gully. And so then they haul them, they kick them, they turn up, then jump on Rasta man.
The memory of the struggle that Rastafari have gone through, supposed to stick with I and I. In the 60s, we never have so much car, we never have so much money amongst Rasta. But guess what? There was a love and there was a unity.
We need to cooperate our divine energy together and to unite round the divine consciousness of Haile Selassie and to love one another supremely.
We have a responsibility, and we have to make sure that this government is answerable to what happened to Rasta in 1963. And we say this without any apology.
Before this Carl Garden thing in 1963, you used to hear frequently of people getting 7 days or 30 days or a few months for smoking, possession and even trading in ganja. But they changed the law after this trial to a mandatory sentence of 18 months for possession, first offense. And it was used as a blanket law to pull in people, Rastafarians especially, who are giving the government trouble, perceived trouble, political and otherwise.
Even if you were in possession of a few grains of ganja or even ganja seeds, but not actually the leaves of the ganja, you could be charged for a criminal offense. And it didn't only affect the poor people and the working class people. It affected everybody in the society. It not only meant that here was an oppressive tool in the hands of the police, but it also was a tool that led to the corruption of the police force. And the long-term effects of that, I think, are still being felt in the Jamaican society today.
I think the idea came from the parliamentary debate which took place when the PNP government was in power. I think it was 2007. There was a debate initiated by Mike Henry, who has always personally been very vocal as an advocate for reparations. And he proposed a motion in the House of Representatives, and everyone who spoke was very strongly in favor of the concept and the principle that a reparations claim should be made for the damages caused by the atrocities of the slave trade and the slavery institution.
My role in spearheading the parliamentary debate rests in the essence of one, and I think it is the truth, that we have never had a political decision on reparations. It is my firm belief, and I stand ready as my independent person to take it to the International Court of Justice. But I think it would stand more support in that area if it has a political decision by an elected Parliament of Jamaica. And it would allow all the politicians hiding behind merely platform speeches and still cowering to the British government to not recognize that all we are demanding is that what you paid to the slave owners, you must pay to the slaves.
I think the way you're supposed to get it is, reparation with repatriation. And when I talk about for slavery, we talk about this government around here now, and them response, because I see them Labour government and them present now in our parliament. I think them are the ones to address this thing.
That means influencing the political system. That now would have to be left to the real believers in Rastafari, because they've looked in politics as politricks. Now therefore I maintain, and this is a totally Mike Henry position, I believe that that voice comes through religion. I believe that once we recognize Rastafari as a religion, we recognize marijuana as a sacrament of the Rastafari faith, just like the wine that is used in the ceremonies of the Roman Catholic Church or any other form. Then you place Rastafari in the social context of Jamaica.
One of the greatest injustices that has been with us since slavery was abolished is lack of land. 90% of Jamaicans are squatters. That's what we're called, squatters, and can be evicted from any piece of land at any time without notice. It takes away your total dignity. And so if nothing else is given, I think the black people in Jamaica should be given lands, legal tenure to lands. I think land makes you, being a landowner, gives you honor.
Testimonies we heard tonight were specific to the Coral Gardens incident. But elders like Ma Ashanti, I see her tonight, and so many others could testify of the many humiliations and the many acts of discrimination that they suffered on account of this movement. But yet, by holding fast to their faith, by holding fast to their principles, they were able to prove that they are neither mad nor bad. then if you're not mad and you're not bad, you must be good, you must be holy, you must be sacred. And that is what the Rastafari movement has come through and survived in order to reach where it is now, where you can find yourself an international movement, a movement embraced by all races and classes of people.
Every year, Rastas commemorate the 1963 incident through drumming and personal testimony, testimonies like those you have heard here. But the annual commemoration is about more than what happened in 1963. It is also a celebration of how much Rastafari has thrived despite this history of persecution. And it is a window onto how the whole country holds the legacies of Western imperialism, racial slavery, and political nationalism. These are the historical foundations of contemporary violence in Jamaica and throughout the Americas. And this is what we must now all fight to overcome.